Good morning, lovelies. Today we're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite science fiction tropes. The usual disclaimer, these are my personal opinion, they are not objective. Please put your favorites in the comments, and remember to click that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss another video. I post every Sunday, and sometimes I have some bonus videos going on other days of the week. So let's get started. Number 1, the science in science fiction, aka hard sci-fi. Now there is a big debate over the exact definitions of hard science fiction versus soft science fiction. Like seriously, you tell someone I like hard sci-fi and they're gonna think one of two things. The first definition is that hard sci-fi focuses more on the hard sciences, that is, technology, extraterrestrial biology, that type of thing, rather than the soft sciences of psychology and sociology. I don't like this definition at all. It devalues other types of science, talking about how like, oh, you're a psychologist, oh, well, you don't study real science. Like, that is BS. The other definition is that hard sci-fi is going hard on the math and science parts of the story. It's like the science fiction version of a hard magic system. So for a really great example of this, think The Martian. You've got a pretty basic premise, man stranded on Mars, and he literally has to science his way out of the situation. So this tends to be a theme for me. I prefer hard fantasy magic systems and also hard science fiction stories, which is ironic because I suck at science. Number 2, space swords! Like seriously, swords in space. Lightsabers, whatever the hell we're calling them. I just love the idea of combining old technology in a futuristic setting with futuristic tech. Does it make sense for us to be having swords in space? No! Do I love it? Yes! Because it is purely an aesthetic thing, and I love it. Number 3, robots. Or cyborgs, or artificial intelligence, or sentient spaceships, or whatever. Robot stories typically have some sort of commentary on the nature of humanity, logic versus emotion, all those really deep themes. And those themes are half the reason that I read sci-fi in the first place. Other times when you have a robot in the story, they make for a truly terrifying villain. Now I really love having robots in my story on one condition. I hate it when they are used to represent asexual or autistic people. Oh, you don't experience sexual attraction or you're sex repulsed? Or you aren't neurotypical? You must have more in common with a robot than your fellow human beings. Check yourself, asshole. Number 4, adventure. If you're not having an adventure in a science fiction setting, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Now this adventure can be anything. It can be an epic battle of good versus evil. It can be running from a homicidal robot. It can be a coming-of-age road trip through the planets. I don't care. I just want some adventure. Number 5, it's in space. I just love stories set in space. There are endless possibilities. You've got all those planets that you can use real ones or you can make stuff up yourself. It's also terrifying. Like seriously, I could never be an astronaut for a variety of reasons, but one of the biggest ones is that the slightest mistake can destroy your whole ship and kill everyone long before help arrives. Sci-fi horror is my jam. And I would totally be that astronaut who forgets to put on her helmet before going out into the vacuum of space, okay? Number 6, aliens. They can be friendly, they can be enemies. The story can be about their first contact. It can be when they're already absorbed into human culture. I don't care, I just love alien stories. These days, they usually have some sort of theme about how humans treat different and new cultures, historically speaking, not well. And as a historian and social justice major, I do appreciate that. This is the same attitude that I have with fantasy races. There are endless possibilities. You get to create and analyze amazing cultures. It's just really cool. Number 7, casual diversity. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing stories like Mulan, no, not that one, that is explicitly about a person from a marginalized community fighting the oppressor. So for an example, a woman battling the patriarchy. They're great, they're empowering, and they're important. But sometimes I just want to see a woman be awesome without having to justify why she's awesome. The political leader of this planet is a woman. Nobody questions that. The genius scientist as a black trans man, nobody raises an eyebrow. I just want to see casual diversity of like, yeah, we have all these different people, we have all these historically marginalized groups, and it's no big deal. We're all humans, let's just deal with the space invasion alien things that we got going on. I think this is one of the reasons why, in fact, I don't think, I know that this is one of the reasons that the original Star Trek series made such a splash. It was a super diverse cast in the 1960s. Cold War and segregation. You got the Russians, you got Asians, you got black women, all in a setting that everyone had only ever seen white cis men in. And it was great. Number 8, social commentary. This is when you usually use some sort of culture shock, like alien or robot point of view or whatever, to comment on how screwed up our current society is. Or this could involve some sort of dystopia or post-apocalyptic setting, which is great. We read stories to learn from them, however subconsciously. Writers explicitly wrote about nuclear apocalypses during the Cold War to tell people, including the politicians in charge of everyone's lives, what would happen if those nukes were ever launched. In this day and age, having our social flaws contextualized in a fictional story with relatable characters and a possible way to overcome those flaws is really nice. Number 9, time travel. This one's controversial, but when done right, I love it. Now when I say done right, I mean consistency. Either the future or the past can be changed, or it can't. Don't flip-flop. Time travel stories done well are used to explore different futures or what-if scenarios of the past and present. And again, amateur historian here, I love seeing that. Ironically, I never got into Doctor Who. Honestly, I don't know why. And number 10, clones. I really like clones because it's a really cool way to explore the nature versus nurture argument. Are humans fundamentally good, fundamentally bad, or does it depend on circumstance? Let's make a clone and find out! Most of the clone stories I've seen involves the clones being an unwilling organ donor, under the argument that they're not really people, they're property of their originals. I especially love it when the original person is an asshole, but the clone is a decent human being. I don't know why, but the dichotomy is cool. That's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, hit subscribe and check out some of my other videos on this channel. One will pop up on my end screen depending on what YouTube thinks you'll like. My anniversary giveaway is still going on. If you want to win 5 amazing science fiction books, click on this video, which will tell you how to do that. Bye, lovelies!